but one of those shirts will be gold. So when you order it, a gold t-shirt might arrive too. And if you have the gold t-shirt, that's like Willy Wonka's ticket to the chocolate factory. So you will have full VIP access to the event. It's basically an excuse for me to dress like Willy Wonka and have Nicky Ryan as an Oompa Loompa. You're going to get into my locker room. You're going to get a VIP seat. You're going to get a kiss Gabby Garcia, and you will share a hotel room with Alex Wendling. What more could you do?
Hello to all my jiu-jitsu obsessed freaks. We have a lot of news coming up on this episode of On Borrowed Time with Craig Jones. But before we start, make sure you head to CJI2.com for the latest news on ticket release. And as a special thank you to anyone who bought CJI1 tickets, be on a lookout for an email with information on an early ticket release date. And guys, get ready because we caught Craig Jones at the perfect time on an early morning in Montreal, where he was much more susceptible to motor mouthing and giving us too much information on the state of his asshole. You can also expect some exclusive information coming from the man himself, Lachlan Giles, on the Giles trials happening May 10th. Here's Lachlan. Joining us now is the man most known for his incredible absolute run at the 2019 ADCC World Championships, where he took out 3 heavy and super heavyweight absolute competitors while being the smallest athlete in the division. And he's now assuming the role of head coach for the Australasian Misfits team at CJI2. It is none other than Lachlan Giles. Lachlan, thank you so much for taking the time. How's it going in the land down under?
Yeah, very good. Just busy at the moment, getting ready to run our trials. So, it should be good.
Yes, I know that there's definitely a lot of moving parts when it comes to that. But first, I want to dive into your experience at CJI, the inaugural CJI, and what made you want to accept the role as the Misfits Australasia team coach.
Yes, obviously I was there for the last one for Levi, who had an amazing performance. And yeah, it was just an amazing, the event was run so well. It was so exciting, the way it was, like the format of it and the pit, or the alley, I should say. Everything sort of coming together, the production, everything was just spot on. So I was very excited to have a part in this next one. So I certainly couldn't say no when Craig asked if I wanted to be the coach of the Australasia team. So, yeah.
Yeah, and in the inaugural CJI, we had the most stacked bracket of all time, that under 80 kilogram division. But this year, we're kind of switching lanes, going the quintet times CJI hybrid rule set. I want to take it back to your experience when it comes to quintet, the 2019 kinetic submission grappling event. You completely took out an entire squad in the opening round, 4 inside heel hooks and an armbar. So tell me about your experience in that quintet format and what your biggest takeaways were from experiencing a format like that.
Yeah, it's an interesting rule set because I guess there's an overall strategy you have to look at as well, right? Apart from just the individuals, it's like who do you put in first? Like I think it's a huge advantage, for example, in a tournament like this, to be the first one to get a submission. That can set the tone, like for whether your team wins or loses. So there's a lot of strategy around who you put out first. So I competed in that kinetic event. I think that was like 1 month before ADCC. And that was we had an amazing team. I think there was Gordon Ryan, Craig Jones, Edwin Najmi, and Nicky Rod, I think was the team. So it was very formidable.
So stacked.
And I got to go. I think somehow I found out that Manchakera was they were going to put him first. I don't know how we knew that. And I'd fought Mancha maybe a year before, and I lost a decision. So I was pretty keen. I said, yeah, I'll have a go and go first. And I managed to get a submission, and I submitted all the opponents and got through the whole team. So that was, it was pretty cool. It's amazing, like to be able to, I think it's a great opportunity for certain athletes to like have a big breakout as well. 'Cause you get a chance to like, do a showing like that and submit like a whole team or 3 people in a row. I mean, it's going to be extremely high level opponents in this in the CGI team. So anyone who can string a few submissions together is going to get a huge boost, I think.
And when it comes to the winner stays on aspect, some people might look at that and be like, oh my gosh, that's so hard because you're gonna be tired. But don't you feel like if you get a submission in the first one, you're building off that momentum? And you kind of felt that yourself taking out the whole team in an opening round.
I think there's an element to that. There's, when you first, ideally you get rid of this by warming up properly, but when you first go out to compete, often your timing's not exactly right, and it takes a moment to get everything working properly. So often halfway through a match, you start feeling a lot better, and you get to carry that on into the next matches and so on. And but I mean, ideally, if you do a good warm up, you kind of get rid of that, and you're kind of moving how you should anyway. But of course, we've probably all felt when we've gone out to compete before that we weren't performing in the initial stages anyway. So yeah, there's certainly that benefit, but obviously you get very tired as well. So multiple matches in a row, you just got to make sure you submit them quick.
And now we got to talk about this recruitment process for the Australasia team. Greg Souders had mentioned that he's not going to be doing a trials and he's just looking for people to reach out. But when you were announced as coach, you immediately let the crowd know that Levi Jones-Leary and Lucas Cannard have their positions locked in. They were at the inaugural CJI, and you're only going to be looking to fill the 99 and over 99 kilogram division. 66 kilogram is the wild card. Is that still the plan for you?
Yes. Yeah. So I thought I was almost going to do like a trials for 66 and for 99 and over 99. But yeah, when Craig told me about the wild card, I sort of thought, well, actually there was one heavyweight I wanted, but they're already taken. So so then I started looking at the 66 kilo division, and I found someone who I think will be very good. I don't think we're announcing it yet. We might announce that at the trials, so make sure you tune in. So I was left with the over and under 99. Now there's obviously people, you can hand choose, which is fine as well. I guess I've got a big, that division, like I almost think the over 99 division shouldn't exist, in that that you see a lot in ADCC, in the open weight divisions and so on. It's often the under 99 kilo person that will actually take out the division. Really, if you're competing in under 99 kilos, you're probably walking around near 110 kilos anyway. So there's actually very, very few people who weigh heavier than that when they've cut weight, I think. It's such a thin division, and I feel like I just wanted to so in these trials, I've just combined the 99 and over 99. I've put them all together, and I said, let's just see who the two best are. I figured that's the best way to tell. Obviously there's some standout athletes from Australia and Asia who I probably could have tried to handpick as well. But there's some that have lost to other people who've then beaten that person. This kind of goes around in circles a bit. So I figured a trials would be good, and it'll build a bit of hype for the event, and it's fair. That way I don't feel as bad about who I'm selecting.
And can you give a little bit of an explainer? I saw the post from BJJ World TV on Instagram. They posted the round robin lineup, and they had the list: Declan Moody, Bob Frias, Alibi Orzabek, Kaya Rudolph, Bilal Etivari, and then the trials winner. So can you explain for any casuals out there the round robin aspect?
Right, yeah. So the reason I did it this way is for the quintet, it's pretty much you either submit them, get submitted, or it's a draw. Like it's like it's a submission or nothing really, and therefore it's hard to do an elimination. Like ideally, you do a submission only tournament, right? You run a tournament. It's if you submit, you move on. But I don't think that works very well in tournament format, because matches can go for hours, right? So then you have to start looking at points and scoring points if you want to actually have people advancing through, or you do, referee's decision and so on as well. But again, it's in the actual CJI, a draw is basically useless. So I wanted to see I figured the only way to actually find out who's actually the best at submitting is we get the top 6 picks and we get them all to fight each other. and whoever gets the most submissions, submissions gained minus submissions that you lost from, whoever has the most gets to go through, the top two, really. But then I thought, well, there's only 6 people, and there's more people that might be able, there's a lot of people who maybe deserve that spot who can't get it. So I'm running I selected 5 people, and then I'm running a tournament for that last spot. So it's a 16-man tournament with some of the best people from around Australia and Asia. And then they're going to, whoever wins that, it's a hard day for them. They've got to win 4 fights. Then they've got to fight each of the other 6 people for a chance for a spot. So that's the reason I did it that way. I would have loved, if I had a good way of doing it, I would have just run a tournament. But I just don't think, when you want to find out who's the best at submitting, I don't think a tournament style is great for that.
And I saw that the plans for this is to stream it on YouTube. So what people can expect is first the 16-man eliminator and then the top 6 round robin.
Yes, that's it. Yep. We'll have the 16-man, then the round robin. They'll have a short break just to recover, and then straight into the 6-man round robin.
And this is happening Saturday, May 10th, Australia time, which is going to be for people in the United States on Friday.
Yes. Yeah, it will be Friday. So we'll be starting at 12 on the Saturday here. I have no idea what time. Oh, that's pretty much. So what time is it now there? Because that's pretty pretty similar time if you want to.
We'll be able to put it in like a graphic or something when they can expect to see it, because the time differences are crazy.
Yeah, so it'll start at about 12, but then it's it'll be a long day. So I imagine about 3 or 4 hours for the eliminator, and then probably three hours or so for the round robin.
And streaming on YouTube, is that going to be streaming on B Team's YouTube or?
Yes, yeah, that'll be streamed on B Team YouTube.
Awesome. Well, us jiu-jitsu nerds want to watch as much jiu-jitsu as possible, not having a paywall to be able to watch this. And I'm sure it's going to be as scrappy as we see at like the ADCC trials, at ADCC championships. That's how hard these people are going to be going. When you initially put out the post that you were planning on doing the trials, your caption wrote that you were hoping to see some people there. So I just want to kind of address the elephant in the room. You said it would be great to see Declan Moody, who's involved. You said at HPU coaching, Josh Saunders, Daniel Schwartz, Mansour Makhmakanov, and Nico Maklichik. So
yeah,
some of those guys aren't there. Any updates on those guys, why they're not there?
You have to ask Craig.
We're going to be talking to him in this episode too. You could give us any teasers that you're willing to share.
Look, yeah, Craig certainly. They're probably public beefs with some of those people, so I think that's put a couple of people off. Yes, I mean they would have been obviously people like Josh Saunders he's been to ADCC twice. He's been probably the most dominant in that heaviest weight division. So he would have been great. He actually, people probably don't know this, he lost to Nicholas Maglijic in Australia. So there's a guy, Nicholas Maglijic, who most people in the no-gi scene probably don't know. He's doing very well in the gi. So Nicholas I would have loved to have, but he's got gi worlds, which is in 3 weeks. So unfortunately, which is fair enough, the priority for him is to compete in that. So he would have been awesome to have. Daniel Schwartz, he won the 99 kilo trials. Yeah, he's had a little thing with Craig. And who was the last one? Sorry, there's one other. Yeah,
Mansour.
Mansour. Yeah, Mansour. He couldn't get down. He's from Kazakhstan. So I think he actually said he hadn't been training as much at the moment, but he recommended, there's a guy, Ali B, who's coming down. Ali B came second at the trials. So he's going to be in it. So there's a few missing, but this is by far the most stacked card you've ever seen in Australia. There's so many good heavyweights, and so some up and comers as well who I feel like are just making their name. So even though there's that list of guys, I'm not convinced they all would have made the top 2 in the I'm not convinced it would have been those people that would have made the top 2 anyway. So yeah, I'm excited to see it. And obviously Declan Moody, who is in it, is he won the 99 kilo division. I think he got to the second round in the open weight in ADCC and in his weight division as well. So yeah, he's been doing great.
Well, thank you for sharing that bit of information. I know that we have a lot of jiu-jitsu detectives. Last episode, we bleeped out who the B team competitors were, and the jiu-jitsu detectives literally started lip reading and trying to figure it out. So I'm sure that the jiu-jitsu detectives have also done some work on why some of the people are not on this Australasia trials. But thank you for sharing your part. I'm sure Craig will maybe have his 2 cents when we have him on later in the show. But from your perspective, are there any early favorites for the Giles trials?
I think probably on form, you'd have to say Declan Moody is, he's probably of recent had the most success in the highest level. He's obviously gotten quite far in ADCC. So I think I'd probably be surprised if he didn't make one of the top 2 spots. After that, it's up in the air, I think. Yeah, so there's some, even in the 16, we've got the 6-man, but even in the 16-man, there's some pretty good competitors. There's people like Kenta Iwamoto. He's won the last 3 ADCC trials. Very good. He's just light. So he's looking to kind of fight all these giants and make his way through. But Kenta's, on form, like probably accomplishment-wise, he's as good as anyone else. Have probably got the most out of all them. Kit Dale, even last minute appearance in the event. So Kit Dale, for those who don't know, he's extremely good, but he hasn't been like super active in his competition. And when he has competed, probably in the last 8 years, he's kind of just been doing it on the side as a bit of fun. But he's actually training pretty hard for this. So it'll be very interesting to see what he can do. There's so many good people. Obviously in the 6-man, who we've got Bob Frias. So he's been to ADCC once or twice, I believe. He just had a match with Josh Saunders not long ago where, I think they were arguing about the decision, but there was, he's tough. He's tough in those open weight divisions. Very good competitor. Ali B, who is flying down from Kazakhstan to compete in this. He came second at trial, so he'll be really tough. We've got Kaya Rudolph. I wanted to see this because when choosing the 6-man, I did want to see 2 people that would pull guard just to see, like, I didn't want it to be just like 6 wrestlers standing around kind of, trying to wrestle each other. I wanted to see, like, how do people deal with different guards? So we've actually got 2 great guard players in here as well in that 6-man round robin. There's Kaya, who's extremely flexible, great leg locker. He can wrestle as well. He's actually quite well rounded. And there's Belal, this guy's been training. He just started training with us actually, but he's been training 4 years and he's so good. Like actually I won't talk about his game too much because I don't want to prepare his opponents, but he's a scary man to train with. So I'm very excited to see how he goes.
Since you brought up the name Bilal, I can't help but ask, even though it's a little bit off topic, what was your instant reaction to Craig Jones being put to sleep by Jack Maddalena in preparation for Bilal?
You never know with Craig whether he's trolling or not. So that's it looked good, but yeah, you never know with Craig. Sometimes he rolls light, sometimes he's rolling hard. That's his greatest weapon. Is even if you get him with something, you still don't know whether you really got him.
And I saw on some of B Team's content, 2 of their YouTube videos said Craig Jones makes Lachlan Giles uncomfortable. So what are some of the type of ways that Craig Jones makes you uncomfortable, if at all?
Craig just tries to get you to say things that you don't want to say. I think that was I went on his podcast, yeah, and he was just trying to get me to he's trying to lull me into talking shit about people when I don't really like to do that. So
yeah, you guys are definitely different in that sense. He loves all the drama. You stay clear of it. On that podcast too, I remember at the very end, you guys were talking about the up-and-comers. This is 2 years ago, and you brought up the name Levi Jones Leary. So crazy full circle moment. Levi Jones Leary, originally had the highest paying win when it came to the Spider Invitational. Then he's in the final of CJI, went home with a nice bonus as well. So what is it like for you being able to see someone you work so closely with be able to succeed and get real payouts in the sport of jiu-jitsu?
Well, he missed out on that. But yeah, no, it's great. Look, Levi's, uh, he's put in so much work. I suppose like I remember, I met him when he was 15 or 16. Nowadays, you see so many of these kids who are like training full time at that young age. But back then, this would have been like, I don't know, 12 years ago or so. Back then, it was much more rare. So to see this kid, I think he had pretty much gone full time into jiu-jitsu. He was training. Everyone would go home. He'd be there drilling. He went and moved to Unity in New York, and I know like how hard that training was. The amount of time and effort he's put in to the sport, and just to at least for him to do this very well in the Spider and win that money, and then to be so close to winning that money in the last CJI. It's nice for athletes to be able to have a chance at that, especially people who have put in such a big amount of work.
Do we know if Lucas Canard and Levi will be at the trials just to see who is going to be their teammates?
I believe so, yeah. So the plan is to have, I think they'll all be there, and then we'll have the two winners, and then we can announce the full team. I can announce who the wild card is as well. So that's the plan. We'll see.
Wow. Okay. So is the Misfit already chosen?
The wild card, yes. Yeah.
Or the wild card, sorry. Wow, that's very exciting. So we have a lot to reveal, and that'll all be happening Friday in the US, Saturday in Australia. Great news. I mean, it's all happening so quickly. When you look at the overall reaction from CJI 1, obviously when Levi was in the finals, there was a little bit of, I guess, not backlash, but maybe the finals wasn't as exciting as people had hoped for. What was your general takeaway? I thought it was very exciting, but what was your perception being Ali side and seeing the action that went down between Cade and Levi?
Yeah, look, I mean, this is the hard thing. I'm not, I suppose, Craig's definitely working to make jiu-jitsu exciting for the non-jiu-jitsu practitioner. I think that's a very hard task, and that's probably rule set, and like something like the quintet is obviously a great way of doing that. Rule sets, I think, determine like where the matches are played and how people go strategically. So that was a classic battle of how do you deal with someone with an impassable guard? It's hard. It's not that exciting, but to me that's just a part of jiu-jitsu. Like the guard is a huge part of jiu-jitsu. You can probably make rules to make that not happen. You could change the rules in some way where the person playing guard or passing guard has to do something else. But to me, I like that's when I'm studying jiu-jitsu, that's usually the battle I want to see, the guard versus the guard passer. Like who's able to dominate and control the grips here and make something happen here. It's obviously like, to me, that's 80% of, or probably 70% of grappling and jiu-jitsu. And then the rest is takedowns and controls and finishes. That's how I view it. The guard versus guard passing is the battle. But that's not as exciting as wrestling. Like the Cade and Andrew Tackett match was obviously, that was a lot of wrestling, and they were, Levi, it's just, and it's a style thing too. And I think it's a good style, and you want to see how people can implement these styles. But his style is basically like, I'm either attacking you or it's neutral. I don't like to do moves where you can beat me or I beat you. I just like to like get in positions where I can get you. And if not, then I'll block and I'll reset and I'll go again. Which might be boring. It's more exciting if you sort of take a huge risk. You shoot for a takedown, your head's on the outside, they might guillotine you. You can maybe take, whatever. But that's also part of it, is like, how do you deal with someone who strategizes like that? And you got Cade, who was on the other end. He wanted, he wanted Levi to take big risks, but he also didn't want to take big risks trying to pass Levi's guard. So, I really liked the match, but obviously it's not for everyone.
I liked it a lot too. Very technical, and I think still entertaining. I think we're even bringing the entertainment more in CJI too, with the news of this Royal Rumble style entry for the fighters, not knowing who's next. So how does that affect things for you as coach?
I guess you just you don't know who they're gonna bring out, so you gotta strategize. Like, well, to me anyway, I probably shouldn't give away my strategy too much, but overall, I think you want to be, if you can get up, get your best submitters to go out there and do their thing early on. That sets a good, it puts pressure on the other team to take risks, and then you can capitalize more. That's probably my general strategy there.
And for the Misfits, it's kind of a unique situation because most of these teams spend every day in the gym with each other. How do you plan on getting the Australasia Misfits team to really feel like a team? Do you think you guys are going to be running practices so you can all work together, or what is the strategy for that?
Look, I mean, the team thing, I don't know if you need to, in the end, when you're actually out there, it's, obviously we're a team in that we're all working together for this goal of winning. But when you're actually out there, it's, it's an individual fighting another individual. So I don't know that they need to train together to be able to perform how I would like them to perform on the day. I think the team part, it obviously comes from, we'll all be supporting each other, and having people supporting you whilst you're out there fighting and competing, and then backstage and just getting behind each other that way. But obviously once you're out there, the other thing is probably just making sure everyone's on board with what our strategy is for each match. You've got to fight for the team. How's our team doing? How do we need to approach this next match based on how our team has gone so far?
I mean, you never know, Lachlan. Craig could say that you can now tag someone in and you have 1 minute to... I'm just kidding. But what if he did something crazy like that? It just becomes complete pro wrestling.
That's right. Who knows what Craig's going to do?
Yeah, he definitely has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. Is there anything else that you want to share, important information for the Australasia trials coming up?
Maybe I'll just talk about the rule set just for anyone who's wanting to tune in. So we've got a 16-man tournament. That one will be... So I wanted less reliance on... people often complain when it's just a ref's decision goes against them. So I wanted less reliance on that. We are doing IBJJF points for that one with submissions will be points as well. We are doing something slightly different. I always wanted to do this as my trials, so I can do it however I want. I always wanted to put wrestling style stalling calls in. So in wrestling, if you get called for stalling, then you have 30 seconds to score points, or else you get points deducted from you. So that's how we're going to do it. If you get called for stalling, you get 30 seconds. You've got to score points, or else you lose points for that. So I think that would, especially if you get a stalling warning, then you've got to be very, very, very active, and it's going to force some action. So I'm hoping to see that actually play out quite well. We'll see. Obviously, in the sixth man, the round robin at the end, that's pretty much just submission only. It will go to the judges to see, if there's two people with the same amount, 2 submissions each, and they're vying for the CJI spot and everyone's fought each other, then we will have the matches scored as well by the judges, and that'll only come into play if they're even on submission scores.
Wow, there's definitely a lot to unpack there, and they really only have a week to kind of take all that in. Do you think all the people that are involved in the trials know all those details already?
Yeah, we've got a group chat, so they should be aware of that. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, at least the jiu-jitsu fans know what they can expect coming this weekend with the Australasia Misfits trials. And then before you know it, CJI 2 will be here. Lachlan, thank you so much for the time. We cannot wait to see you in August.
Thank you very much.
It was great catching up with Australia's most iconic and beloved leg lock specialist. But now we speak to another Australian grappler you may have heard of, the problem child of no-gi grappling. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe I am being joined by the Craig Jones right now. Craig, making sure the lips are looking great. What kind of stimulants are we on before this early morning podcast?
I mean, first of all, everyone says I wear lipstick. No, it's just the Caramax strawberry flavor. What kind of stimulants? Obviously, the Lucy breakers. We're going to throw one of these in now. But I will run you through my morning routine. I do wake up early with the anxiety and existential dread of the average person. And the way I tackle that is we start the day strong. We get up, no food. We take a 70 milligram Vyvanse. Then I get 2
70?
70, yeah, the maximum available, I believe. And then I take 2 double shot coffees. And now, thanks to my new sponsor, fully addicted to these. These slippery little suckers are a bit moreish. I do start the day with the espresso flavor. We progress into the mint apple ice, and I've been taking quite a few of those. But that's the morning one. And then if I start to look in the mirror and I start to look a bit red, we throw in some telmisartan. I think that's what it's called. 80 milligrams. That's for my blood pressure. That's as a stress take. So I want enough stimulants in me that I'm having an internal panic attack. But from all exterior purposes, they go, that is one cool, calm, collected, relaxed man. That's the goal.
That's the ultimate morning cocktail that you have going on, and it probably is going to give you a little bit of motor mouth. Do you think you're going to be able to share some secrets about CJI this episode, or are you holding back?
No, we can share some secrets. This is as you personally know, if you receive a call when it's morning time, wherever I am, you will not get me off the phone. I'll be telling secrets I shouldn't be saying about my life and other people's lives. I'm pretty agreeable at that stage too. That's where all the ideas come. That's where I hit Seth up with the phone calls that are like, hear me out on this. Some of those are good. I have the same phone calls with my lawyer as well. Daniel Maudsley's my lawyer. I've had that many phone calls with him where he goes, by no means should you do that whatsoever. It's basically the scene from Billy Madison where he's like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I'd feel dumber for having listened to that answer. A good example would be actually, I called him up and I wanted to do a reality. It would have been real where I was going to be like, listen, girls, if your coach is sending you inappropriate messages, if your coach is DMing you and he has a wife and kids at home, doesn't have to be Brazilian, but he likely would be. I was going to show up to the gym as Chris Hansen from To Catch a Predator and walk in and be like, hello, Professor Estima, take a seat over there. And then I would start reading the DMs back to him and was like, was this you? And he was like, first of all, if it's in America, you might get killed. You might actually get shot on the spot for that. And second of all, that's an insane level of liability. So unfortunately, one of my greatest ideas shut down.
Yeah, another idea that you had was the Alex Jones podcast, immediately shut down. But the one that you just mentioned, I feel like is super necessary in the jiu-jitsu community. So if you ever get a creepy text from your coach, just make sure to send it Craig's way because we still might be able to get funding for that project. Another project that we have gotten the funding for is CJI-2. And last time we spoke, there was a lot of speculations, a lot of people thinking that they could read your lips. So I guess the next time you tell some secrets, we're going to have to like blur it all out. But what do you think the odds are that we're not even going to be releasing the full teams in the lead up of CJI-2?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is what I was speculating, as a WWE fan, and again, I always emphasize this enough, like, if people will watch fake wrestling, surely we can convince them to watch real wrestling. I believe professional wrestling originated where they would have real matches and people found it boring. So then they'd say, fuck it, we want the winner to win, so let's have a secret scrap before. And then whoever wins, they would coordinate a fake wrestling match for the fans that would be exciting. And you'd have a burner in the gym, and then that would be represented to the wider audience as a fake wrestling match. So my ideas, a lot of them are borrowed from professional wrestling. A lot of my personal sexual fetishes as well are borrowed from the late great Vince McMahon. Some of them haven't worked out hygienically, but
That is like the worst news ever. Please never compare your sexual fantasies to Vince McMahon again.
No, to be honest, I didn't even watch the documentary. I remember so many people told me, they're like, watch the fucking documentary. That's you. And then I heard about his sexual fetishes and was like, I can't watch that. I don't want to relate in any way.
I have the documentary that you do need to watch. It's called American Playboy, and it's obviously about Hugh Hefner's life. And he has this assistant named Bobby, and it's basically our relationship. Like, I'm the bestie, but then she gets like freaking framed for selling and pushing drugs, and she ends up offing herself.
Wendling framed for being involved with drug use. Oh, what a mystery! Yeah. The Royal Rumble. The beauty of the Royal Rumble, one of the beautiful things is you had an idea of who was in, but you didn't know. We did 3-4 takes of the opening, and now I'm just covered in my lip gloss. But one of the beautiful things about the Royal Rumble was occasionally you didn't know who the fuck was coming out. Like the pre-arranged lineup wasn't. So one of the things we're playing with now is that obviously we're gonna drop the teams. You're gonna have an idea of what stars are in there. We need some stars in there to sell the tickets, but we might leave some anonymous. We might leave it so like, 3 of Team Atos. And then when Galval gets on the horn and calls out who he's sending in next, everyone's like, who the fuck could it be? And I think that would be spectacular. I really think that people will become invested in anything. They'll watch anything if there's a fascinating story. And even if that story unfolds as we go. So, right, like if we have a single super fight and it's a scrap, it's a banger of a match. That's position one in the story, right? So like Eubank versus Ben, 68,000 people, 1 million pay-per-view buys. The story there is that their dads fought and had a banger of a fight back in the day, and now the sons are fighting. And that story just transcends. That was so interesting. Obviously, Chris Eubank Sr. with his dance moves and shit, people are going to tune in to see that. But like, storyline is everything, and the quintet format creates storyline. The team history creates storyline, and as the event unfolds, we see storylines play out. It's going to be gripping. I really think that I don't want to shit on other organizations here, but like personally, like if you were to get involved in combat sports and you wanted a combat sports promotion, boxing still puts a ton of effort into stories and production. I think that's why they get the major pay-per-view buys. They do it better and they don't skimp on costs. Like if you watch a Risen event, Rise, I don't know how to say it, in Japan, it's a spectacular show. Pride back in the day, spectacular show. Eubank versus Ben on the last weekend, the walkouts, the build-up, everything was so brilliant, so captivating. And we need that in modern MMA and modern jiu-jitsu. And I don't mean just fucking fireworks and stupid shit like that and big screens. I mean like investing in something that's going to captivate people. We need to captivate them. And honestly, the low IQ jiu-jitsu audience was still too smart to be bedazzled by fireworks in the venue.
And we're coming off of a weekend where 2 potential stars of CJI2 just went to battle for the one championship belt. Were you able to catch the Ty Rotolo versus Dante Leon match?
I'll be honest, I didn't catch it. I love watching one, but like sometimes the time zone is shit. I miss it. Like, unfortunately, being the elderly 27-year-old man that I am, I even missed out on Renier de Ritter versus Bo Nickel. I fell asleep during this Jeremy Stevens fight, Jeremy Stevens fight was a banger too. But I fell asleep and then I was trying to catch the replay, but I've been out here with Jack Della. So really like, if I have any time to study tape, we're studying Bilal Muhammad. And I tell you what, that is the best sedative I've ever found in my life. Part of the reason he's so hard to study, everyone's like, what does Bilal Muhammad do? Because you put on a fight and then you just wake up the next day. It's just, how do you study a guy that causes you to have a narcoleptic outbreak? Like you just fall asleep. So you combine jet lag and studying Bilal Muhammad, you are in dire straits. So yeah, I've missed out on recapping some of these recent grappling events and some of the recent fights unless I watch them live, because my whole heart is dedicated to Jack Della and studying tape. And I can't get you guys hyped enough. Like, Jack Della is a guy, ton of finishes, respected for his boxing. I always plug him. I plugged him forever. He inspires me in jiu-jitsu. And this isn't me just selling a dude that I'm cornering. If you watch his fights, some of the unique grappling exchanges he pulls off, brilliant. He's so creative, and he just breaks the rules sometimes for MMA. Obviously, everyone loves him for his boxing. His boxing's crisp, but I can't emphasize enough how good he is in grappling exchanges and the creativity. And I envision him finishing Bilal Muhammad and then fighting Islam Makhachev next when Islam moves up. And Islam's going to look across the corner and see that Australian retard in Jack Della's corner again and probably be concerned about whether I cross a line in some of the jokes. Bilal's already threatened me. He said he's going to jump the cage and attack me, but like, he got roasted on that because what happened in his last title, what happened in the last contender fight where Shovkat won, his security didn't even recognize him to let him in the cage to face off with Shovkat. So like, the best comment I read, some of the funniest people are in the comments on Instagram and YouTube. And he was like, fuck, if you jump the fence to attack Craig, security won't recognize you to let you back into the cage to get your belt. Like, don't do that.
I mean, you mentioned that Bilal is so boring, it puts you to sleep. Those are definitely fighting words. Can you clarify to the audience what went down with you and Jack when you were put to sleep? A lot of people are like, I can never tell if Craig is trolling. Like, what happened in that situation, in all honesty?
I mean, obviously, I'm world renowned in certain female groups for my acting abilities, and so are they in the bedroom with me. But I'm going to leave it as no comment here, whether he really got me or not. But I will say he's fucking dangerous. And number two, people will believe anything if you put a security camera filter on a phone. And we'll leave it up to that. Obviously, I will say, yeah, he put me to sleep for sure. You know, I suck.
Anyone will believe security footage, but they will also believe a POV from Meta glasses. So I'm excited to see what a day in the life of Craig Jones looks like eventually, because you got some new spectacles that do some crazy things. So we're going to get an insider look to your life at some point.
Thank you, Zuck, for hooking me up with the Meta glasses. Hey, I just wish he hooked me up with the special edition ones where I could turn the film camera light off just so I could trick some people and get some good moments, you know?
Well, you can manifest that one, and then you can send your other pair to me, and then we can do some crazy content because we have a lot to talk about. One of them is Lachlan Giles, who is going to be the head Misfits coach for Team Australasia. We spoke to him. I got his opinion and him to spill some tea about things, but he didn't spill too many beans because he is such a good friend to you, Craig. So tell me about how your guys' relationship first started over there in Australia.
Lachlan is a financially shrewd man. Even if he had many beans, he wouldn't be sharing them with many people, I'll tell you that much. But my relationship with Lachlan is like, I wouldn't say he's like a father figure because he would have put me out for adoption quite early in my life. He's more of a brother. If we were related, obviously he would be the favorite. I would be the black sheep of the family. But so I'll try and summarize like a little bit more about our story, right? So I used to live in Adelaide, Australia, and I trained at a small team. And at the time I trained at that team, I was over at Atos doing a gi training camp. And I heard ADCC trials were in South Korea. And I believe, if my shitty memory serves me correct, this was in 2014. So I was like, holy shit, ADCC trials. Asia's usually pretty weak. Maybe I have a shot. I was a purple belt at the time and I'd won nothing, but I had youthful confidence on my side. And I looked at the list of names. And at the time, if you look at old photos of me, steroids and a beard have been very kind to me, I would say. Don't you laugh at that, Alex. And I looked at the lineup and I saw Lachlan Giles in 77 kilos. And I said, fuck, that guy's pretty good. I didn't recognize any names in 88. So I jumped in the 88 division and we both won it, right? So his 77 final was before mine. He won his. My 88 final was after his. I won that, right? And we sort of spoke there. And that's where the relationship began, where I went over to train with him. He offered me a very kind teaching role. He was like, hey, Craig, how would you like to come and teach the 6 a.m. class? And I was like, wow, what a generous offer for me to teach your shitty 6 a.m. morning class. And that was really my, this was the peak of my training time. Like, I had an opportunity to quit my job working at a liquor store. I was working at a liquor store. I was bartending. I was still at university at the time, pretending that I had a career ahead in academia. And I moved over to Melbourne, and me and Lachlan, like, by all means, Lachlan was my coach, but we had obviously a relationship really strong training partners that would brainstorm together. And this will come as a surprise to me, because back in those days, I had a lot of respect for EBI, and Lachlan had his first EBI run where he did really good. But at the time, I was singing the praises of Eddie Cummings and Gary Tonin and Gordon. And in those days, Lachlan, he's a traditionalist. And that's what makes him special, is it's like he's a skeptic. So when you bring a new move to him, I still remember the day I came into the gym and showed him Eddie Cummings' elevation to sort of the inside heel hook style. And I still remember the day I tried it, and I remember the day Lachlan looked at it and was like, Lachlan had the attitude that those guys weren't that good. But me, I'm looking for a way to find an edge. I saw them beating people that I thought were better than them with leg locks. And I will be the first to say that I progressed us down that path. Like, I potentially had to once I won that trials, there was a risk that Pau Jarez was in my division for the actual ADCC Worlds, which was me and Lachlan's first in 2015, Brazil. So we trained heel hooks through self-preservation, because I remember thinking, they're going to let this fucking rabid animal on my leg, I'm going to tap, and he's not going to let go. So it first started from how do we not get injured in this tournament because we don't understand anything, to us watching the Danaher guys and really trying to reverse engineer what they were doing. So we had ADCC 2015. Asian trials winners, obviously, we aren't respected. Me as a fellow Asian man, not respected as an Asian man in the community around the world. So we get given the highest seeds usually. So I had Romulo Barral. Lachlan had a Gilbert Burns. So we do it in Brazil. I saw it more as a cool vacation and something to tell people about, like, oh, fuck, I'm an ADCC competitor, right? We went over there. Lachlan had a much closer match. Bahal submitted me in like 90 seconds, right? And I remember I was just a fangirling out at the time. And I went up to Romulo before to introduce myself. And it's not the response you want, because I was still 80 kilos at the time. I had no business being in 88 kilos. I was tiny. So when I introduced myself, he became that much more reassured. And he had a smile on his face that he had this tiny dude from Australia like a purple belt in the first round. And he fucking ripped a Kimura on me and hurt me a little bit. Physically and emotionally. And then me and Lachlan sat there as fans, right? But we were inspired by the event for sure. Like, we saw potential that we could actually do something in it. So we kept training. Lachlan was still pushing me to do IBJJF tournaments and shit. And I was like, fuck that. Give me all the glorious super fights. That's the direction I wanted to take. And we trained, and it came up for the next Asian trials. And we had to qualify again. So I was still 80 kilos. Lachlan was 80 kilos as well. So we both wanted to do the 77 division. So we had a scrap in the gym. And I do regret that we didn't film this. Would have been sick. We did an ADCC rules match. Lachlan, all credit in the world, he's the fairest motherfucker on earth. Like, Lachlan could have been like, Craig, this is my gym. You're in my house. You fucking do 88. But no, he fought me in the gym, and it went like double overtime. It was close. Like, we're having a scrap. It was back when I was living a healthier lifestyle. I didn't even think I was drinking at the time, so I had a bit more cardio in me. And he won that scrap. He won with a sweep or something. He won. He edged it out, that prick, and he got to do 77. And I had to do 88. So logically, what do? I asked my drug dealer at the time if he could get me steroids. he could get me steroids, and that was my path to now. Well, fuck. So we did the trials. I won at 88, but I was still tiny, and I remember just being like, "There's no fucking way I'm showing up to ADCC 2017 at 80 kilos again, giving up a 18-pound weight advantage here. Like, I already was a shitty Australian grappler facing the elite guys in the world. I'm not coming in light. Lachlan, though, unfortunately for him, what it meant was that now two guys are the same size, Lachlan being the clean athlete he is, I got to just take steroids and grow bigger. And we'd have scraps in the gym, but it was like the size advantage helped me a lot in the gym, and it would cause him great displeasure. And I got to have the fucking revenge of just being a bit bigger, steroided up dude. And we'd have fucking brawls in the gym, and I'd piss him off. He'd be like, "How did you get so much stronger and bigger fucking overnight?" You know, like, but I wouldn't tell him, obviously.
You didn't tell him.
I told him it was the fruits and vegetables, you know. I was worried. A man with such strong morals and ethics probably would have kicked me out of the gym. I remember the drug dealer gave me the first injection of steroids because he thought he knew how to do it, and he fucking completely missed the mark, and fucking, I swear he hit a bone in there or something, and I was hobbling around like I'd had a fucking bad night at a gay bar for a while. Couldn't pull guard for a while. But again, those are the sacrifices you make for the sport. And then we went into 2017. Lachlan got JT Torres, who's his personal nemesis, who had already beaten him twice in the gi, and I had Leandro Lowe. And I mean, kind of the rest is history from there. I had my breakout moment. Lachlan unfortunately lost first round to JT. I beat Leandro. I broke his leg and choked him. Rest in peace. Still a fucking sad story about Leandro. Love the dude. Then I had Murillo Santana, who I was actually like, I beat Leandro, and I was like, holy fuck. Like, I'd heard rumors. I was a big Murillo fan. I heard rumors about how he beat up Leandro in the gym and stuff, and I was like, fuck's going to be a tough one too. And then I flying triangled him, and I was riding high, the highest of highs, right? All the sponsorship offers came in. It was like a fairy tale moment. Day two comes around. We don't do as good. We lose to Keenan, then we lose to Shanji. I will say, go back and watch the replay. Shanji pulled a little dirty move on me, and I'll never forgive him. Little cheeky move off the reset, you know? And then I tried to flying triangle him. Lightning doesn't strike twice in the same weekend, and then that gave up points, and he won. Then me and Lachlan were like, and this was like Lachlan's idea, let's have a beer. I'm fucking rabbiting on here, but it's sort of interesting how we got to the point where we're at now, right? So me and Lachlan are at the bar drinking beers, and I'm next to Gordon Ryan's dad, who's harassing any woman in the fucking near vicinity of us, and he's talking to me, and we're drinking beers. He has no idea I'm even a competitor. No idea I'm a competitor at the time. We're just, I guess, embracing over the mutual harassment of any woman at a grappling show. Obviously, he was a bit more aggressive on it. And then Mo found me there. Mo's like, yo, do absolute. And I was like, I'm drunk. And he's like, I'll give you Chael Sonnen. And I was like, all right, hold my beer, I'll get in there. Because I knew I'd take that one. And then I submitted Chael, and unfortunately, second round had Gordon Ryan. And I don't even know if his dad would have connected it, but his dad, I hope, would have gone, I was just drinking with this dude at the bar, and now he's facing my son. And then Gordon submitted me, as he usually does in fucking competition and training. And then that was my run there. So that was my breakout sort of moment. And all power to Lachlan, right? Like, he's my coach at the time. He's promoting me through the belt ranks. He's doing everything for me. He gave me the job. He gave me the opportunity in Melbourne. All power to him. It would be hard to both be in the journey together, and your student has his breakout moment, but you don't. But nothing but support from the guy. And then I ended up moving to the States, and he kept up his training. And then obviously for him, the rest is history. For 2019, the Pink Eye ADCC event, he came in, submitted Kainan, something I could never do, submitted Patrick Gaudio. I believe then he lost to Gordon maybe, and then he beat Muhammad Ali, and like, that was just like the prick outdid me, and I definitely had some jealousy there. I was like, fuck, I was meant to be the guy selling heel hook DVDs, and now you've fucking stolen my entire market here, and now the prick's rich, buying fucking houses in cash and stuff, you know? family man now. He basically retired after that point. I'm not sure if he had a match after that, but like, how could you outdo that? So that's basically our relationship. And then whenever I'm in Melbourne, go back train with him. We don't talk a lot. You know what I mean? Like Lachlan's not the type of guy I'm going to call up and tell some of the stories that's going on in my life. But we're still super tight, super friendly. I would do, like, obviously goes without saying, I'd have him as a coach of the Australian team. Like, to me, he is the Australian guy. You know, he never left. He kept training there. He built everything he accomplished was built out of his gym there. He did a couple trips to Brazil, but he's a homegrown. I sold out. I went after the American dream and I moved to the enemy team of the Danaher Death Squad at the time. But even without me and Lachlan training for 2019, he did better. He did better. So all respect to Lachlan, that prick.
And he's definitely taking his job as coach of Misfits Australasia very seriously. He broke down everything that they're planning. This Saturday, May 10th, is going to be the trials, and then it'll be streaming on B Team's YouTube. When it comes to the jealousy aspect and how you mentioned that he never had any jealousy towards you, I could definitely sense that in my interview with him earlier. He's just such a genuine person, just rooting for you all the time. But he also is a good friend in that he didn't want to spill any beans about some drama, because when he originally said that the trials was going to happen, he tagged a few people and he said, it would be great to see you there. And one of those people is Josh Saunders, who isn't invited to the trials. So for people that don't have Instagram, you kind of posted something that I think would be interesting to show the YouTube people. How did you get that footage, and did that influence the fact that he is not being involved in the Australasia trials?
Well, I mean, as far like to set the record straight, and I won't say his name, there is only one athlete in the world that I would never have compete for me, and that is a guy that threatened to sue me over a contract. And it was if I say too much, it'll give it away. But it's just a guy that I would never have a part of my event because I just don't trust him from, like, he's a bit of a slime ball of a dude. One of those dudes that, like, in my position, sometimes people will pretend to be my friend, even like a brotherly like relationship, but obviously it's not reciprocated. It's just a means to an end. So, and also that wouldn't rule him out, but being threatened to be sued over certain things would rule him out. So Josh Saunders was totally welcome. New Wave could have enlisted, Kingsway could have enlisted Josh Saunders. He trains with them, you know, like Josh could have done the trials. I think there's a bit of an ego thing sometimes, like, some people feel they're above the trials. And I'm like, Saunders, he's a phenomenal grappler, phenomenal marketer, but he has built a career of beating bus drivers at Grappling Industries events. Nothing wrong with that, to go out and break the occasional spine of a man half your size. I respect that. And in the sport of grappling, where there's finite opportunity and finite money, there is a lot of arse licking going on, a lot of knee pads coming out. And we did see that happen at the last ADCC, right? So, like, obviously I can be a petty asshole, but, like, I'm not going to sacrifice the purity of the event for that. So, like, Saunders could have done the Aussie trials. I can't emphasize this enough. He could have done the Aussie trials, and it would have been great to have him participate in the Aussie trials because, like, he is very talented. He's very good. He would have fit the plus 99 position very, very well. But he chose not to do the trials. And I imagine it's because during this ass-licking phase, there was the Gordon versus Josh Saunders match last year. And his fucking dumb fuck coach, who was vlogging everything, posted a vlog. And within that vlog, you can hear Saunders say to Mo Jassim, he's like, I can't even remember the name, but, like, not all Australians are like backstab. I can't remember the exact quote.
Ungrateful pieces of crap, I think.
Ungrateful pieces of crap, right? And credit to Mo in that moment. Mo wasn't like, oh, yeah, you're right. He kind of brushed the comment aside and just laughed. So credit to him in how Mo responded to that. But I took offense to that because me and Saunders, we had spoken on social media. He had repped my T-shirt and talked about supporting other grapplers, supporting other Australian grapplers. And that really fucking pissed me off because it's like, bro, we're tackling something bigger here. We're actually tackling perceived bias from events. I'm like fighting for grappler pay. You're a grappler. I'm fighting for your guys' rights here. Obviously, I always say you work 8 hours a day to help the world. You might work 16 hours a day with a personal vendetta. So Saunders, he kissed the ass of the wrong guy there, and ultimately Mo doesn't run ADCC Worlds. He could come back to run ADCC Worlds again if it doesn't work out. They could call him back, but he basically insulted me out of nowhere. And he's probably biased because he trains with New Wave and shit. A lot of guys in New Wave, I'm the devil, you know? So it's like, it's a bit of bias there, but really it was his coach filming vlogs that gave me an insight into who he is. And I never start these fights, but I won't let him go. You know, like I will bully these people. So maybe he didn't want to be a part of it. Maybe he wanted the invite. Maybe he felt he deserved. I don't know. I haven't spoken to him. But again, Saunders, you're fucking welcome to do the event. Of course you're welcome to do the event. Why the fuck would I block you from doing the event? I think you're a great grappler. I think you have a fantastic shot at being a part of Lachlan's team. It's got fucking nothing to do with me, who Lachlan puts on his team, except for that one slimeball individual I'm talking about.
Well, what a way to fumble the bag for your student. I had no idea that it was the coach that was the one that put it out. So maybe we'll play the clip, maybe we won't, but that is some very interesting insight that you put. And you did bring up a lot of butt licking vernacular. One of the interviews I did recently with Paul Ardilla said he's not a fan of butt licking, and that might be something that you have to do a little bit. I don't think it's butt licking. I think it's marketing yourself and networking to get on to some of these misfit teams that aren't doing trials. What was your perception of hearing someone talk about butt licking?
How Alex Wenling got this gig, that's something she takes a lot of pride in, is her butt licking. Nah. I mean, Paul needs to know that if he wants to do it, it is waxed, it is bleached, it's there for you, Paul. You know? I don't know how it tastes, probably not good with my diet, but it's there. Nah. Yeah, I don't know if Paul was talking about CJI Direct. I mean, we didn't really invite too many people. You know what I mean? We thought what we were presenting was so good, people would be fighting for those spots. And like honestly, Paul could have messaged me. He might have. If he did, I might have seen it. I don't know how we picked the individuals in that event. We were trying to get the best guys we could. And that's not to say I think Paul's phenomenal grappler. I love watching him compete. He's got really fucking slick leg locks. And that's not like, he might be a part of Greg Sauter's team. There's a good chance he could be a part of Greg Sauter's team. Like, again, he's fucking talented. I'm joking. He doesn't need to lick my fucking asshole to get on the team. Basically, Greg Souders is going to come to us with who he wants. We're going to sign off on final approval, and that's how it goes. So, like, reach out to Greg if you want to be a part of the event. There's no mystery of how to join an event. Like you said in that video, Paul, it's not going to be an American top team. Paul, but you're eligible to participate in the tournament. Fight your way into the tournament. I'm not making the call on this. Like, I don't even decide the B team. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want bias in there. Like, I didn't even train with B team leading up to the Gabby Garcia match. I barely trained with them since then. I try to take the promoter job seriously. Not to mention, it gives me a good excuse not to go back to my home gym and get bashed by all the people I've attacked throughout the years when I was at my athletic peak.
I definitely want to get your take on an upcoming match that is kind of CJI versus ADCC based. Fionn Davis versus Adelphine Norino is going to go down. Do you have any early picks for that one? Are you going to be betting on shuffle?
Yeah, put your bets in on shuffle, guys. That's a very interesting match. Is it Fionn 1-0, right? Fionn's up by 1.
Yes.
Fionn pulled out of their match that was previously scheduled due to a skiing accident.
That is not confirmed.
Oh, it's not confirmed. I don't know. I mean, like, I love Fionn, what she's done for the sport. You know, like, she made a statement. She helped us with CJI 1. I'm not going to say that we didn't help her too. We gave her the dream match for her. Obviously, we actually paid a lot of money to get her that match. You know what I mean? It was a brilliant match. It was one of the peaks of the entire stream. Fionn, Mackenzie Dern. Adele, phenomenal grappler. I've known Adele for many, many years when she was in Melbourne. We lived in Melbourne at the same time. I'll be honest, I did not think that she would end up being in this position. You just don't, like, you don't expect that. Like, I don't follow enough of the sport to know how talented she really was, but she went out there and showed it at the last ADCC, and she's incredible. I would say Adele's a friend. I talk back and forth with her sometimes, about matches she's got coming up. Like, any athlete that wants to like hit me up that I think's a good person, like, because I've been through it all with all the organizations, like, oh, we'll help them and give them advice. So I love Adele. In terms of picking it, I think Adele's got a lot of momentum right now. She's the next generation. It's a tough match for Fionn. Like, say, Mackenzie was the female GOAT. We'll cut this out so Gabby doesn't hear, but she was the female GOAT of a previous generation, went to UFC. And that takes a lot of balls to take on the upcoming next generation. Like, Fionn's worked so hard to get the position she has in the sport, and all power to her. She's taken on the young, hungry up and comer. So it's a tough match. I think it'll be a neck and neck match. I kind of hope Adele wins so we can have a rubber match. This could be a great series here, but if Fionn takes it, it's tough to get a rematch when someone's beaten you twice.
And you brought up Gabby just now. I know you were on the phone with Gabby recently, handling a lot of crazy drama and a lot of really rude men. And here on the B Team YouTube channel, we like to really focus on the fact that men should never be rude to women. And so what was your stance on a situation that was quite spicy over there in Montreal?
Oh, I was not going to say it was in Montreal, but you've now thrown me under the bus. So
can I also throw under the bus that it was Hinge related?
It was, it was Hinge related. Hopefully any girls I've made false promises to don't know I'm on Hinge right now. But
if you want a shot with Craig, just try to figure out where he's located. Download Hinge and shoot your shot. His asshole is bleached.
Uh-oh. That's not good. They will find me on there, actually. No, but I matched with a girl on Hinge who, first of all, like, obviously she thinks I'm way more famous than I am, because she's like, this isn't the real Craig Jones. And I'm like, I'm that desperate. Raya wouldn't even have me. You know what I mean? So we're a peasant on Hinge and Tinder. But yeah, she matched with me. We hung out. She's a big Gabby Garcia fan. So I'm like, yo, Gabby, bitch, what are you doing? Help me out here. I call up Gabby, and the topic of her ex-boyfriend comes up, and they start talking about how her ex-boyfriend didn't like me. And I'm like, fuck, I feel offended here. But the story was ex-boyfriend. When they were together, the boyfriend sat down to watch that when I was on Joe Rogan. This girl didn't care about jiu-jitsu or MMA. Like most girls, I would assume. They just merely entertain it sometimes to be a good girlfriend. But something about me on Joe Rogan, who knows what it was? Maybe it was slapping out $1 million. That does go a long way with girls' feelings towards me until they realize that's not my money. But yeah, she had a crush on me, asked a bunch of questions. He got annoyed. He's like, why you fucking keep asking about Craig? Made her unfollow me. And she was telling the story to Gabby, and then she started talking about the horrible things this guy had said to her. And Gabby is giving her the whole female empowerment speech. Don't let any man talk to you like that. And also saying, what's going wrong? Actually, it came up because she's like, what's going wrong in your life that you're hanging out with this piece of shit, Craig Jones? That's what basically started the conversation. But then what was funny is Gabby took it so personally that she messaged the ex-boyfriend who trains on Instagram, and he wrote back insulting things about this girl. So what does Gabby do? Sends a screenshot photo of me with this girl to the ex-boyfriend. But it is a funny story. Hey, I do enjoy that aspect of the D-level fame that I do have. You know what I mean? Like, if it's a bad dude, I mean, even if I have friends that are bad dudes and treat women in a way that I feel is wrong, those come as a surprise to many people who see my Instagram. But yeah, I do not want to associate with dudes like that. Like, especially in our sport, we have trouble getting women in the sport, and then due to the actions of dudes in the sport, we have trouble keeping them. Don't be the dude. Thanks for the role. Don't send the DM after. Like, don't make it weird. That's what I think. Obviously, Alex personally battles this all the time. Oh, great podcast, Alex.
I like how this has transitioned into the dating podcast that I originally wanted to have. And a lot of people have been giving you a lot of backlash and just the on borrowed time, a lot of backlash for not just going the Alex Jones podcast route. How the hell were we talking about this? And then we manifest Alex Jones in your life to do the craziest freaking video about Gabby Garcia. Like, did you give him a script for that? How did he know to say that?
No, that was an old one. My Alex Jones relationship started when I had a sort of a side effect of the vaccine, but I had a side effect of the flu shot too. I don't get into all the fucking COVID shit. Like, that's a conversation everyone's sick of. But that's how bridged the gap between me and Alex Jones was my side effects and him talking about me on InfoWars. And then to the detriment of many personal relationships and business relationships, I did go on InfoWars, but I did go on there to try to like make fun of him. I remember one of the things I said to him was like, what is it? What is it? People were concerned about community, becoming immune to it through community exposure and stuff like that. And I remember one of the things I said that he thought was serious. And I was like, I was scared of that. I got the vaccine because I was scared of the community exposure because of what happened to me with the HIV virus. And he was just like, what? What about HIV? So I was trying to take the piss from him a bit on the show. The problem is, despite all the bad things he's done, he's unintentionally one of the funniest human beings ever. But yeah, I have gone out drinking with him a couple times, which is fucking risky. Enough people want to kill him. But enough, a few people want to kill me too. So it's like, it'd be an easy target there. But yeah, that's where that video I posted happened, where he basically, when he first looked at Gabby, he was not interested at all at the start of that sentence. But by the end of the sentence, he was like, oh, he's like, I'm kind of interested now. You know what I mean? Like, and there's a few dudes out there that see Gabby Garcia as a bit of a conquest. And I'm like, be careful what you wish for. You know what I mean? Be careful.
Well, now the 27-time world champion Renato Laranja has some competition, we know, other than yourself.
It'll be a tough intellectual battle between those two to secure Gabby. But really, the Alex Jones connection came up because my idea for this name of this show was that obviously we have Alex Wenling and Craig Jones. The show should have been called BJJ Wars with Alex Jones. But yeah, a lot of pushback from the pussies in my team, such as Anthony Horta, Seth Belial, Alex Wenling. So we went with Alex Wenling live. Selfishly, she named the show after herself. But
well, that is all the time that we have. I know you have a lot of shit going on with you and Jack Della's training camp. Is there anything else you have in the near future that you want to let the CJI2 fans know about?
Oh, I will release this actually. We're doing this thing, right? And it's an elaborate scheme for me to get Nikki Ryan to dress as an Oompa Loompa. So what do I mean by that? And I mean that we're going to release ticket sales soon. We're just making sure there's no ticket problems. Like, we're going to announce the date. We want the ticketing system to be perfect before we announce even the date of when they're going to be released. But we're going to do a Street X t-shirt, and it's going to be a black or white. It's going to be a blank, but it's going to be an early CJI shirt. But one of those shirts will be gold. So when you order it, a gold t-shirt might arrive too. And if you have the gold t-shirt, that's like Willy Wonka's ticket to the chocolate factory. So you will have in that shirt full VIP access to the event. And really, it'll be me.
So to be alley side?
Yeah, you'll get a VIP pass. There'll be a limited number of these t-shirts. They're probably going to be whipped up pretty quick, but you will be the VIP of the event. And then, I mean, it's spurred from an Adderall-fueled morning, but it's basically an excuse for me to dress like Willy Wonka and have Nikki Ryan as an Oompa Loompa in the video. I mean, Nikki Ryan is an Oompa Loompa in the visual sense, but the only difference being that Oompa Loompas have a work ethic, and we know Nikki Ryan does not.
Does the VIP treatment include like special time with the Craig Jones? I know you're going to be like stressed out, running the promotion, having a super fight, but like what else does it include other than the gold t-shirt?
So you get the golden, you're going to get into my locker room. You're going to get a VIP seat. You're going to get a kiss Gabby Garcia, and you will share a hotel room with Alex Wenling. What more could you do?
Not the last part. Can't guarantee the Gabby Garcia kiss.
He's going to see who wins first, for sure. You know what I mean?
That's all the time we have with Craig Jones on Borrowed Time for episode 2. We will see you guys next week.